34, isn't it? Yeah, text 34. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajanggrahe. Okay, that's it. Text 34. Nisamya Karmani Gunan Atulyan Nisamya Karmani Gunan Atulyan Viryani Leela Tanuvi Kritani Viryani Leela Tanuvi Kritani Yada Tihars Pulaksha Ashu Gadgadam Yada Tiharsot Pulakka Ashu Gadgadam Yada Tiharsot Pulakka Ashu Gadgadam Prokkanta Udgyati Rauti Nrityati Protkantha Utyati Rauti Nrityati Nishamya Karmani Gunatula Tulyan Viryani Leela Tanuvi Kritani Yadatir Harsot Pulaksashru Kadagadan Protkantha Ugadyati Rauti Nityanti Nishamya Karmani Gunanatulyan Viryani Leela Tanuvi Kritani Yadatir Harshot Palaks Ashru Gadgadan Protkantha Udyayati Rauti Nrityati. Devotees. Nishmaya Karmani Gunanatulyan Nishamya Karmani Gunanatulyan Viryani Leela Tanuvi Kritani Yadati Harsho Pulakashu Gadgadan Nishamya Karmani Gunanatulyan Tanuvi Kritani Yadati Harsho Pulakashu Gadgadan Utkati Rauti Nityanti. So निशम्य कर्माणि गुणान् तुल्यान् वीर्याणि लीलातनुविकृतानि यदातिर्हर्षो पुलकाशु गदगदाम् प्रोत्कण्ठ उद्यति रौति नृत्यति निशम्य hearing karmani transcendental activities gunan spiritual qualities atulyan uncommon not generally visible in an ordinary person viryani very powerful leela tanubhi by different pastimes forms kritani performed yada when atiharsha because of great jubilation utpulka horripilation ashru tears in the eyes gadagadan altering voice protkantha with an open voice udgayati chants very loudly rauti cries nrityati dances. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. One who is situated in devotional service is certainly the controller of his senses, and thus he is a liberated person. When such a liberated person, the pure devotee, hears of the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord's incarnation for the performance of various pastimes, his hair stands on end of his body. Tears falls from his eyes, and in his spiritual realization, his voice falters. Sometimes he very openly dances, sometimes he sings loudly, and sometimes he cries. Thus, he expresses his transcendental jubilation. Purport. The Lord's activities are uncommon. For example, when he appeared as Lord Ramachandra, he performed uncommon activities like bridging the ocean. Similarly, when Lord Krishna appeared, he raised the Govardhan hill when he was only 7 years of age. These are uncommon activities. Fools and rascals who are not in the transcendental position consider those uncommon activities of the Lord to be mythological. But when the pure devotee, the liberated person, hears about these uncommon activities of the Lord, he immediately becomes ecstatic and exhibits the symptoms of chanting, dancing, and crying very loudly and jubilantly. This is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. मम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मयि ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यस्ततारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Okay, let's repeat translation once again. One who is situated in devotional service, please repeat, is certainly the controller of his senses, and thus he is a liberated person. When such a liberated person, a pure devotee, hears of the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord's incarnations for the performation of, I repeat, incarnations for the performance of various pastimes. His hair stands on end on his body, tears fall from his eyes, and in his spiritual realization, his voice falters. Sometimes he very openly dances, sometimes he sings loudly, and sometimes he cries. Thus, he expresses his transcendental revelation. Oh, Krishna. So, this is certainly a very elevated topic, at least for me, to speak on, where where the context is Prahlad Maharaj is explaining to his friends that how he learned this knowledge or the science of self-realization from Narada Muni. And before these verses, he explains about the process and how can someone be on the highest platform. Especially this verse 34, 35, 36, it talks about a very elevated stage. Just one second. Hare Krishna. Yeah, so this stage, before going to there, Prahlad Maharaj explains about how a person, by meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord and by worshipping the deity and by following the Shastra and Guru, they can achieve this stage. And what the stage is very high, it is very elevated. He says sometimes he very openly cries, sometimes he dances, sometimes he sings loudly, and so on. These are basically the stages of bhava and prema, isn't it? Very high stage, where the devotee is completely surrendered onto lotus feet of Sri Hari. The the main important thing to understand here is how can we achieve that stage? Is this stage is a whimsical, or can someone practice this stage? Isn't it? We'll start with a very small example. Uh, Rupa Goswami explained this whole in October devotion very nicely, going part by part about all different limbs of the devotional services and and uh, and the way to achieve this raganuga bhakti, isn't it? However, to achieve raganuga bhakti, it's not that very easy, isn't it? Someone has to be perfect in devotional service, at least to cross the stage of nishta and then bhava. And this is not something which can be imitated. It's not something which just by reading saying, okay, if I cry sometimes and then I start laughing loudly, is it I'm on the stage of bhava? It's not that, isn't it? So we'll take a very small example and try to understand a bit more. Once our in our parampara, Gaur Kishodas Babaji, Gaur Kishodas Babaji, he had a small bhajan kutir, and he was chanting his rounds, and many people used to come and see Babaji, and then they used to get blessings from him. And then one person he thought, everyone in the village actually they goes to see Gaur Kishodas Babaji, isn't it? So why can't I make a hermitage or a small kutir beside him, and then I can actually get some kind of I can attract some more people as well, just as Babaji is doing. What's wrong in that? And then, just to imitate him, he started uh, abruptly. He started sometimes chanting loudly, sometimes crying, sometimes dancing without any proper, mood and things. But it happens many days. It continues. And then Gauradas Babaji says, he was thinking very pity on this person. He says, how could he imitate those things? And he is trying to be something which is not he is. So it's kind of externally he's trying to show off that I am in bhava stage, I'm in prema stage, I am at some time I am crying, sometime I'm dancing. And then Babaji, Krishnadas Babaji, Babaji, he went to him and he says that, you know what, the stages is not whimsical. The stages which we are talking about, the stages which you are trying to imitate, it doesn't come externally. Right? I'll advise you the best process is to chant the holy name of the Lord, hear about his pastimes, and gradually elevate your consciousness, purify your consciousness, and then one stage will come when these things will come automatically, isn't it? It's not about whimsical, it's not about following the Raga Nuga Bhakti and then Gopi Bhava without following the scriptures properly. Right. So before these verses and after these verses, uh, Prahlad Maharaj, I mean, after 2, 3 verses, Prahlad Maharaj again coming back to the process of following devotional service, isn't it? What that? Prabhupada says in this previous verse, he says the in the way one's life becomes perfect. Which way? By following the path of devotional service. By following the path of devotional service, the life becomes perfect and his attachment for Krishna becomes positively manifested. So it's manifested. Uh, it's not imitated. We can't imitate it. However, it becomes manifested. It manifested by our sadhana. It manifested by our sincerity. It manifested by following the rules and regulations of Shastra and the Guru in a parampara, isn't it? So Bhagavatam clearly explains about what to do. Right? He says, Dharma srunusida pumsam vishwakshena kathasuya na utpati atiratim srama eva hi kevailam. So even if someone is trying to imitate those bhavas stages, but if the attachment to Krishna is missing, actually that's just a vague, just compared to srama eva kevalam. Actually, no more benefit. It's just an hard lever, nothing like that, right? There is one more story. I mean, the devotee explained this pastimes as well. I think Acharyas too. He says there was a lady, and the lady, the barren lady, the one who can't give birth to the child, but the lady who can't conceive the child in her womb. So she saw many of the lady delivering child, and then she came out with the conclusion that when we scream very loudly, the baby comes out. And then she tried to imitate it. She started screaming very, very loudly, but nothing happens. So, yeah, we may laugh at this thought, but there is a very, very, very deep learning here. The Acharya explains here that the stage, the stage which we are talking about, the bhava stage and prema stage, that's not whimsical. That has to be properly followed as per our scriptures, isn't it? Without following the scriptures properly, if we try to imitate it, it actually going to give us no result. Rather, it might backfire as well. In one pastimes here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that also happens like once Haras Thakur. So when he was passing by, and there was a, what he says, the serpent charmer, Is a charmer, right? Serpent charmer, the who used to sew the snakes and things by playing the flutes and things. Yeah, charmer. Yeah. So, and he was actually s- playing in the flute the pastime of Kalia. So as he was narrating the pastime of Kalia and Kalia Daman, and by hearing that Hridas Thakur, he became very ecstatic. Just by hearing that, he became very, very ecstatic. And then many people, they started, praying obeisances to Hridas Thakur and like that. And one person thought, wow, this is a very good idea to get attention of everyone. And then he started loitering on the ground like that. And then the people, they understood very well, they started beating him. So these are not the stages where can be, imitate this whimsically, but by following the process, as Prabhupada says in the purport, uh, by following the shastras and by the mercy of Guru, one actually can get it. Prabhupada says in the previous verse, actually, he says that uh, by using his pure intelligence, he gradually becomes a lover of Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed by Sri Rupa Goswami, Adau Sradha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Tata Bhajan Kriya, and all goes on. In this way, one's life becomes perfect and his attachment for Krishna becomes positively manifested. In that stage, he is situated in ecstasy, experiencing bhava and anubhava. I explained in this current verse which we are discussing. So, these stages are, are very, very rare, isn't it? So how can someone go to the stage? We we see in that devotion, Rupa Goswami explains about Sahajiyas. Sahajiya means those who take this as sheep, and they try to imitate the gopis and others in a sheeply. And still there are some, you know, uh, some Babajis who actually who proclaim that if you take shelter of me and I can reveal you your identity, and then after that you can actually start imitating or behaving according to your the revelation. But that's not the real case. The real case is the holy name is so powerful that it reveals automatically. It reveals our own stage. It reveals our own identity gradually, right? So what to do that, or in what the process to follow so that the holy name can reveal us? Bhagavatam explains clearly. It says, Sranam Swakatha Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtanat Hridayanto Stho Havadrani Vidunoti Satam Sadam. So Krishna, he actually is going to reside in our heart and start, he's going to clean those heart. He's going to purify our our chitta. He's going to purify our own our heart, and then he's going to come there, isn't it? In this way, the process what we get, the process what our acharyas has laid down, the process what our acharyas had lived on, by following this process, these stages, bhava and anubhava, it can be perceived, it can be experienced, right? It's not about displaying these bhavas externally, but it's more about experiencing those internally. And this verse itself says, by hearing Krishna Katha continuously, by hearing the the pastimes of the Lord, which are transcendental, one can actually perceive these different stages of bhavas. Even this, it's not only about bhava, it actually goes more in bhava, anubhava, and prema, and higher and higher. This is unlimited transcendental ocean. It goes on and on and on and on, isn't it? So if you see, uh, in the pastime of Dhruv Maharaj, in the pastime of Dhruv Maharaj, when Dhruv Maharaj, uh, when Lord got pleased by the practice of Dhruv Maharaj, what happened? When Lord came and Lord touched the corns to Dhruv Maharaj, though Dhruv Maharaj was just 5 years, He had no words to glorify Lord. Just how after the conch being touched to his head, he got all the transcendental knowledge, isn't it? And then he starts glorifying. He says, Yo anta pravishya manavacham idam prasumtam. Sanjivate Akhila Sakti Dhara Swadhamna. He says, O Krishna, by your touch, Anyam Hasta Charana Sarana Tavad Agin, Pranam Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam. He's saying that, oh Lord, by your touch, all my limbs, all my angas, what happened? It got rejuvenated. It got sanjivani buti in that. They were all senses were there, but they became enlightened now. And now, especially my speech, so that I can glorify you very nicely. So that is the process. That is the process by Krishna's mercy. Sri Sri Purnadaya Shashi ki. So, by following the process as laid down by our acharyas, by hearing Krishna Katha continuously, regularly, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, isn't it? It says Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. What does it mean? Regularly attending or hearing Bhagavatam, right? Nashta Prayasva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So, by regularly hearing Bhagavatam, what happens? Nearly all our impurities, all our anarthas are cleansed. And then Krishna, this bhava, anubhava, this process can be revealed. Right. So Dhruv Maharaj says there that, oh Krishna, by your touch, by the touch of your conch, actually all of my limbs, my hasta, charana, and sravana, I mean the capacity of hearing, the capacity of serving from all of my limbs is got rejuvenated. So, oh my Lord, uh, I offer my obeisance unto you, and start glorifying the Lord. So the speech or the prayers, what Dhruv Maharaj is going to say after that, actually are being all being enlightened to him by Krishna himself, isn't it? So it's not a whimsical, however, it's a process. There's a process to achieve those stages, to go to those stages. And then the best way is to follow our acharyas, sadhu and sastras. There is a nice word actually uh, comes. So, I mean, in this context, the point is to discuss about more on the uh, Sahajiya bhavas and practicing Krishna consciousness properly, isn't it? There is a verse where the Bhagavatam says, the Nihayat karma dharmaya na vairagya kalpate na tirtha pada sevaye jivan api mrto hisa. In that verse is being explained that if we are performing any activities, our activities should take us to perform dharma. The next stage of our activities is to be performing dharma. And if we are performing dharma, then the next step should be vairagya, that is detachment. And if we are performing vairagya, then it must take us towards tirtha pada sevaya, towards the service of the Lord, attachment to the Lord. It's not just about detachment, it's actually more about attachment. Attachment to where? To Krishna Katha, for the service of the Lord, isn't it? So, otherwise, it's a Jivan api murto visa. Even if we are living, it's as good as dead. So, by hearing Krishna Katha regularly, by chanting the holy name, the revelation comes to us. Otherwise, practicing these stages of bhavas and anubhava just by hearing and reading and imitating those, it's not going to work at all. And we might fall back again, isn't it? Because the real essence is, till how long can someone imitate? If he has not realized the essence, then how long can someone imitate? Someday he'll get frustrated. Oh no, it's too much now, isn't it? So imitation it can't sustain, but the real sustenance is that by taking shelter, and when it comes automatically, that stage we release more, and when it's released more, we get to practice more and more and more and more. In our shastras, there's a very beautiful words comes explains very nicely that what is the use of performing severe penances, what is the use of performing austerities, and why to do it. And it says very nicely, it says aradhyato yadi haris tapasa tata kim, naradhyato yadi haris tapasa tata kim. Means aradhyato, if he is worshipping the Lord Hari nicely or properly, then there is what the use of severe penances? Not required, isn't it? And naradhito yadi haris tapasatata kim. And if you are not worshipping the Lord properly, then what the use of austerities? So if you are worshipping the Lord properly, then there is no need of austerities. However, if you are doing austerities and not taking shelter of Lord Hari, then also there is no use. Then it says, Antar Bahir Yadi Haris Tapasata Kim. If you understand that Krishna is inside, Krishna is outside, then what is the need of austerities? And the next verse says, Nantar Bahir Yadi Hari Tapasata Kim. Even if you practice so much of austerity, severe austerities, however, don't understand that Krishna is within and Krishna is outside as well, then what are the use of the austerities, isn't it? So the focus is more on the service, right? Focus is more on the service rather than trying to imitate these stages of bhava and anubhavas and more higher. So Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Thakur explains about artha pravarti. So one is cleanness of our heart or anartha nivritti. Basically, anartha nivritti is getting higher and clearing our impurities. And then second is artha pravarti. Artha pravarti is focus is more on the process given to us by our acharyas, isn't it? More on the process of service. And gradually, see, if you see our Goswamis, isn't it, what they did? They are completely perfect in the knowledge of scriptures. They have gone top, bottom, left, right, in, out, everywhere, isn't it? And then they have presented this nice philosophy to us to practice Krishna consciousness, right? And they have never practiced this cheap sahajiyas bhavas to express those, isn't it? They always engage themselves in chanting the holy name, hearing about the glories of the Lord, and revealing those realizations to us. See, our Goswamis, their writings are amazing. Can you see? So when they are writing, it's not about what they have read and what they're writing. When they're writing, actually Krishna is revealing through the heart. I mean, when they see the pastimes, when they're writing the pastimes of, for example, Dhruv Maharaj, it's not just about writing the pastime of Dhruv Maharaj. They are actually within the heart of Dhruv Maharaj, and they could understand what Dhruv Maharaj is thinking now, and then they are putting that in the paper or the note to us to read and relish those pastime, right? And that's why the more is on the service, the more focus is given on the service rather than trying to whimsically follow these stages and get it. That's why this verse, especially 7:34, it says about this devotional service is certainly the controller of his senses. So it means what? How we can understand that, or at what stages we can control our senses. Rishikesha, taking shelter of Rishikesha, he is the control of senses. By taking shelter of Krishna and engaging our senses in the devotional service, our senses can become controlled. Otherwise, it's very difficult, isn't it? So, taking Krishna Prasadam, taking Krishna's holy name, hearing, most important is hearing about Krishna's pastime. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita clearly, isn't it, that uh, anyone who knows or understand my birth or my appearance and activities are transcendental. By when they leave their body, they come back to my abode, isn't it? Else, so the point comes is how can someone know that Krishna's appearance and activities are transcendental, right? How? By taking the guidance from our guru and sastras and following what they have given to us, right? And here Prabhupada explains about the uncommon activities of the Lord, like the Lord Ramachandra. He built the whole ocean with the bridge of the stones, and that too nothing. The stones are just floating. Can you imagine the the pastimes, how Ramchandra and his devotees, they made the bridge nicely of the stones is floating. It's not very easy, or even it's not possible to do anyone else. And in a similar way, our Krishna, Prabhupada mentioned about the pastimes of Krishna lifting Govardhan hill. Krishna, in the 4 or 5 days after birth, he killed Putana. Can you imagine these pastimes? And then Prabhupada mentioned here about lifting Govardhan hill. So these are very uncommon activities what Krishna and Rama and Narsimha they performed, and that's why just by hearing these pastimes again and again and again and again, our heart becomes purified. And when our heart becomes purified, uh, these bhavas stage, like chanting loudly, crying sometimes, and experiencing these transcendental qualities, this comes up. The same we see when Mahaprabhu, when reached Jagannath Puri, he was completely fainted with the bhava stage, isn't it? And then Saramam Bhattacharya, he came, and then he knew very well Ramata Bhattacharya. And then by seeing the symptoms of the Lord, he could he could perceive that no, it's not ordinary, or it's not being done by imitation. It's actually completely real. And then he started investigating more about the symptoms what Lord Mahaprabhu had. Right? It's not a whimsical, or it's not a stage of imitation. It's a stage of perfection. And perfection happens how? Practice, 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 and practice, isn't it? What to practice? As our acharyas given, as our Prabhupada has laid down this chanting of holy name, right? So the verse says, uh, Siddhanta balichitta na kare alas. So Siddhanta, or the principles, this must has to be taken care of. We should not become lazy to understand the philosophy, understand this knowledge, or rather trying to, okay, let's try something else. This Babaji is saying, okay, do something and then come to me. I'll just do this, and from tomorrow you become this manjari, and then you start practicing this. Uh, that's not the real understanding. That's not the way to imitate the gopi bhavas. The gopis were on very very high platform, very very high platform, and to imitate those platforms is not that easy. Right? Our Rupa Goswamis, that they are manjari bhavas. They have they internally they are on that stage of serving, uh, but outwardly they never showed these emotions. These emotions needs to be kept internally, and many a time this is also a sign of devotees when they keep these kinds of emotion internally, rather than making publicly that, okay, oh, started chanting and now I'm crying. Even our acharya says, if you when you chant and you don't cry, actually you're not chanting, isn't it? But can we do that? It's actually, it comes automatically, isn't it? It has to come automatically. It's not about, okay, I'll put some ointment and start crying. Right? Yesterday, some days back, something happened in our house. My daughter she was with, just started crying a bit. I think she was upset or something. And then my V1, the Vrinda, she came to me and said, "Dad, what happened?" I said, "Oh no, I know her. She had put some water in her eyes, and so she's showing that she's crying." So, and then we started laughing. So the point is, it's not about just showing that, okay, I'm crying and the tears are coming out from the eyes. It's not about the making some ointment to make those things, but it's actually more about the emotion. If you see a mother, isn't it? A mother cries very easily for their son and daughter, isn't it? That the emotion comes out automatically, and then she says, "Oh," as soon as she sees that my children are hurt, the emotion is very, very natural. Just imagine a small child, 5 year child, fell down and it got some scratches. The mother, she without anything, she started crying. That emotions is automatic, isn't it? It's not manifested by as an, okay, now my children has fall down, and then people are saying, if I don't cry, then what they will think about it means I don't have any love for my children. It's not that, isn't it? The love of mother comes out very spontaneously, without any other thoughts. In the similar way, it will come to other devotee for sure. And that's why this word says, those who are on elevated stage, and they can actually, we can reach there by hearing these transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord again and again. Right. I'll stop here for any quick questions or comments. Or say yes. Amazing class, Prabhu. I really like the example of, a lady saw someone giving birth and she was shouting, and then the lady thought, okay, first also start shouting, I'll also have a baby. Really like that example. I think I'll also be giving it to other people. The way you explained that, how it's not immediate, it's, naturally felt, and, with like continuous devotional practice, it comes to us. And also by reading literature, and you were mentioning the six Goswamis, they've written amazing literature. So, Prabhu, how do you qualify to become, to, read these literatures, Utkar Valdarika, Vilakusmanjali, Shri Prem Sampota, so on? Yes, so certainly these books are very elevated. So I think the best way is if you go through the books, and if you think this is what actually I can conceive, this is what I can actually relate to, this is what I can think of, I can digest it, then you can go ahead. If you think you can't, then it's the answer, isn't it? Is the answer. So the question comes up like that. Okay, Prabhu. So which, in the power stage, which gopi I am, isn't it? If the question comes up that which gopi I am, is I am Lalita or Visakha or their associate or whoever. If the question comes up, it means that we are not there yet. It means the revelation has not become yet to us. So it means the practice has to be continued, isn't it? The practice has to be continued. So one day, Krishna is going to reveal us. The holy name is so powerful, it will reveal one day for sure. Right? It will reveal us. So in the same way, if we take a literature by our Goswamis, and when we go through those books, if you see just NOD, Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Devotions, you know, every the 64 limbs of bhakti, for every limb, Rupa Goswami is quoting from Shastra in and out to prove that yes, what does mean. Even just taking Charnamrita, even taking Krishna Prasadam, he says, no, Krishna becomes very happy when who takes Krishna Prasadam. Krishna becomes very happy anyone who comes and dances in the front of Krishna. So these are the limbs of the bhakti. We do so many things in our daily activities, we even without knowing that it's actually one of the limbs of the bhakti. Offering obeisances, dumping and dancing in the kirtan, singing kirtan, honoring prasadam. Right. One devotee was saying a very nice point about sometimes we complain, today it's salty, or today there is no salt, or something like that. But can we perceive one thing, that this is the prasad already being offered to Lord? And it means what? This is prasad. We say prasad, isn't it? What the prasad means? It's a mercy. So whatever we are honoring now, it already being honored by Krishna, and now it come to us. So if this was salty, but Krishna honored it, so what's wrong? I can take as well. It's not. It's not salty at all. There is no salt. Still, Krishna honored it. We can take it. What will happen? So the stomach, interesting, isn't it? The stomach is not thinking about the taste. The stomach doesn't know about salty or not. The tongue, which says, "Oh, it's spicy. Oh, it's salty. Oh, there is no salt." It's the tongue, not the stomach, right? So the tongue says, "No, I don't like it." Stomach never says. Even if the medicines, no one likes to take medicines. There are so many bitter medicines, but we take it for our benefit, for our cure, isn't it? Chanting the holy names, the sahajiyas, they don't take this process. And they say, no, we are on that level where actually the gopis were. Why to do this? Right. So, I mean that the point is, if you read the scriptures by our acharyas, and if you think it's actually I can digest it, so we can go ahead. And when we think we can't digest it, come back to different scriptures. And that's why our so Prabhupada, Prabhupada's the small books, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, has everything in it. I'm not saying we should not read the Acharya's books, but what I'm saying is Prabhupada has clearly manifested in a very, very simple language to us. Yeah. The inquisitiveness, if we have, certainly we can go ahead and read it. No harm in that. Everything is all public available there, isn't it? You can just buy the books, download some PDF, and then continue reading it. And if you have questions from the understanding, then we can ask senior devotee that this doubt I have, what can we do? I'm just going through one of the course, just a learning, and there it says there are the prerequisite for the course is that you should hear these 40 videos. 40 videos comes out nearly around 90 hours, kind of, nearly about that. So you should hear these 40 videos before entering to this course. Right. So it means what? It means the the topic what we're going to discuss there, it's on a very high level, and you should have this. So it's simple, isn't it? You can't just go to a uni and say, okay, give me, I want to take admission. They'll ask, have you been to a primary or secondary or what it is? What have you done in your secondaries? Can I see your mark sheet? Which grade are you? Are you on higher or or lower, or have been done or not? They'll ask something, isn't it? Have you passed those things or not? So it's a gradual process. If you have never been to school, then you can't enter an uni. It's not. Though you might be 20 years of age, but that doesn't mean that you are qualified to enter uni. The qualification is what? You should have gone through those. Even if, see, our studies, it becomes more narrower, isn't it? When we go higher and higher, right? In the primary, we read everything: physics, chemistry, biology, and everything. But when you more higher, or now more focus on only chemistry, more focus on mathematics, more focus on physics, and more higher, even in physics, some departments, thermodynamics, this, isn't it? So as we go more deeper, the path becomes more narrower. Same in Krishna consciousness, isn't it? However, that narrower is actually is giving us more pleasure. isn't it? The sadhana becomes more thicker, intense, and in the response, we get immense pleasure, and that continues on and on and on.
We also mentioning like you mentioned on two occasions, like you said Gopi Bhav and Manjari Bhav. Is there some difference between Gopi Bhav and Manjari Bhav?
The gopis are directly assisting Shrimati Radharani, and the Manjaris are there assisting the gopis, like the Ashtasakhis. So these are the primary gopis of the Lord, of Shrimati Radharani's. And this Manjari, they are helping to, like someone is going to cook the feast, and you are helping to chop these vegetables, right? So some next level of service as well. So it's a service as well. The one who's going to cook, he's not going to say, okay, I am just cut as well. But he says he will appreciate, yes, this paper are chopped very nicely, this potato are chopped very, very nice, in a symmetrical or all same size potatoes. So when I cook it, so all going to be cooked at the same time. If you put small potatoes and also big one, small will cook properly, but the big one not yet crunchy, so that way. So it's all somehow assisting to the Lord service. Yes, Mati.
How can we focus more on getting some internal change? Because we can do all the devotional service, like if we sing and dance in a kirtan, it doesn't mean that we have to feel something, that the emotions are there. So do you have like any recommendations how to focus more on getting that vow? And like when you're already doing some devotional service, but how to develop these emotions?
Yeah, so I think the topic says actually the emotions uh, cannot be manifested or by our own thoughts, or it is not whimsical. It comes automatically. When Krishna says, uh, Sevan Mukhi Jivado Swayam Eva Spratihada. So this will sprout in our heart by Krishna's mercy. So how to take it? Very, very clearly, understanding this point that the love for Krishna is within our heart is for sure, but it in a dormant stage. If there, every living being has a unique relationship with Krishna. There is no doubt. Every living being has a unique relationship with Krishna. What relationship I have with Krishna, that Krishna knows and I knows. But till now, I don't know it. And as we go closer to Krishna, Krishna has revealed that. So you can't say that, oh, this devotee is on this stage and he has revealed to me. Maybe let's, for example, a devotee on a very high stage, pure elevated or pure state, and you are his close friend, for example, and then he reveals that, while I was chanting, I had this revelation, and then you may think, okay, how can I reveal that as well? How can I get revealed? Or who am I? Am I the same as my friends thinking about, or am I something different? Right? And then the inquisitiveness comes, but we can't whimsically say, okay, because he said, if I do that, I might be the same as well. But not, but more on that is how we chant the holy name, how take we the process, right? So, in our parampara, in our parampara, it has been revealed by our acharyas, saying that follow the process nicely, it will get revealed to you. So this is, it's not, as I gave the example of a mother, the love of a child, it becomes spontaneous. She doesn't have to manipulate the mindset. It's automatically it comes up. Oh yeah, the love for the child. So similarly, one day it will. Krishna is revealing us the best process is to follow the process nicely. Isn't it?
You were mentioning, Prabhu, that we go deep and deep and deep into our studies. Like somebody studies chemistry, they go deep into that. us like practice Krishna consciousness, the more deep we go, the more pleasure it gives us. So for us to Gaudiya Vaishnavas, so do we have like this because we are in a streamline, we can say that different school of thought. So our school of thought, do they have any kind of how which is specifically practiced in Gaudiya Vaishnavism?
So the practice our acharyas has laid down is say this is Sankhya Purvaka Nama Ganana TV. So our acharyas has taken this instruction from Mahaprabhu that chanting the holy name Sankhya Purvaka by counting and every single day. And then Natibi, they used to offer obeisances every single day, right? And then they were completely aloof of material things. Right? So this is the these are the parameters actually. These are parameters by which actually we can understand where currently I am. My Guru Maharaj used to say that if you want to know yourself, where are you on this devotional service or the path of devotion, you can you can do your retrospective, saying that am I attached to material things or no, or at till what degree I am attached to my material activities, material uh, things. So the degree by which or the degree I am attached to will define how much I am advancing towards. So the material attachment has goes down. It means I am moving up. Even in one of the class, Dr. Prabhu explaining, you know, the the waves. If you see sine wave, as for example, no, it goes like this, isn't it? In one stage, if you see, it looks like stage still. It's not moving. But if you see, on the other hand, it's actually moving ahead, isn't it? It's moving ahead. So see the plane, aeroplane at one stage looks like, when you take off, you see the turbulences. And when the flight goes off, you see that okay, it's actually I could see something, the lower ground I couldn't see anymore. But at one stage, when you're on the sky, you just see nothing. It's all sky. And it feels like aeroplane is not going at all. But that's not correct. It's moving in a faster way rather than in the ground, isn't it? It's moving more faster than that. So sometimes we might not see, but if our practices are properly as guided, we actually advancing. And Rupa Goswami, so yeah, I saw the time now.
You can go on, Prabhu, yeah.
Rupa Goswami, he says that as soon as a devotee or person takes to Krishna consciousness, he is elevated right away. How it is? How can we say it? I still see I'm getting angry. I still see I'm getting hunger. But how am I elevated or how I'm moving ahead? Clearly, he says no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex. So as soon as someone takes Krishna consciousness properly, these four anarthas swashed away, gone. No more attachment to alcohol, no more Friday nights, no more Friday clubs. It's all Om Sit Om, Saturday club, isn't it? So right away shift has done. So once shift is done, isn't it? We have given up few nonsensical things and at least taken up something better. And now it's our responsibility by pouring the water on the root by Sravanam Kirtanam, and then the sprout Bhaktilata which can goes higher, 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 higher till Goloka Vrindavan, isn't it?
Oh,
It's not just Krishna, we have to give something as well. As Prabhupada has given us this nice community, ISKCON. By entering here, we have given up these four principles, which are actually when this we follow these four principles, we we give strength to adharma. when more intoxications, more illicit sex, more gambling, when it flourishes, it's clearly that adharma is flourishing. And when we restrict those, it means we are trying to flourish dharma. Shift has done, and now it's our duty to pour nice Sravan and Kirtan and associate with the devotees, and then go back to Godhead. More engage and engage and engage, isn't it? It's not about detachment, it's actually about attachment to Krishna. So if you think more to attach Krishna, detachment will follow automatically. As it says, that when the queen passes, their servants they follow automatically. And Rupa Goswami goes more higher actually in Netto devotion. He says that it's completely, even it is the 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 liberation of Brahman merging, that is insignificant. It's no one thinks of at all. Right. Okay, we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.
His great Baleshwar Prabhu ki